Summarizing the Main Idea, adapted from Cindy Leal and Megan French. We summarize all the time. For example, you've just had a day filled with tons of drama, and you call your friend to tell him or her about it. How might you go about that? Would you tell him or her every single detail, or only the details that he needs to know? Another way that we use summary is through social media. For example, Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, we have status updates that people generally post what's going on in their lives that day, maybe how they feel, what they're doing. Because they're not writing everything, that's a summary. Or Twitter, you're limited on how much you can write. For example, if you read this Twitter post, you will see that this person is summarizing a story. Can you guess which one it is? If you guessed Harry Potter, you'd be right. Summarizing a story. Here's a chant that might help you remember how to summarize. Summarizing a story is not that hard to do. Remember these 5 parts, and they will surely help you. Include the characters, the setting, the beginning too, with the middle and the end. It's all you need to do. So what were those 5 parts? The characters, the setting, the beginning, the middle, and the end. The reason why the characters, the setting, and the beginning were all covered with a purple box is to show you that generally we find out about the characters and the setting in the beginning of a story. Another way to think of summarizing is to use a plot diagram. Plot is the organized pattern or sequence of events that makes up a story. There are 5 parts to a plot diagram. The first is the exposition. This is the beginning. We learn about the characters, the setting, which is where and when the story is taking place, and about the main conflict or the main problem. The second part is called the rising action. Here we learn more about the problems. We get details, we are learning more about the characters and how they're interacting with this problem. We move to the middle, the third part of the plot diagram, which is the climax. This is the turning point in the story, where the main character has to deal with the problem and is usually changed in some way. The fourth part of the plot diagram is called the falling action. Here is where the problems are solved. And the fifth part is called the conclusion. This is where the story ends. The first 2 parts, the exposition and the rising action, are the beginning of the story. The third part, the climax, is the middle of the story. And the fourth and fifth parts, the falling action and the conclusion, are the end of the story. When you are summarizing, one skill that you could use to help you is to choose a graphic organizer. This first one that you see is a plot diagram. Again, we have the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution, or the conclusion. If you use that, you will be able to tell all of the parts that you need to include in a summary. Here's another example of a graphic organizer. You see the story and the author is up here. You put the setting, the time, and the place. Who are the main characters? And then important details from the beginning, the middle, and the end. Remember to use graphic organizers. You may go back and look at the chant once again to help you remember. These are things that will help you summarize a story.